Greetings and welcome to Nathan Lyle Official. If you've never seen my face in a video before, my name is Nathan Lyle. This is my personal channel where I do vlogs, reviews, and anything else that happens to catch my fancy. Today I'm changing the format a little bit. We're trying something a little bit new for the finale episode of the Jack Taylor fanfiction. This episode is less of an episode and more of an epilogue. The main story is over. I'm just letting you know what happens next. So, where we left off, obviously, the end of Turbo, Justin and Jack stayed on Earth, and they just, stood there watching the plane take off. I said plane, I'm in spaceship, leave me alone. So Justin and Jack stay on Earth, living their everyday lives. They still have their turbomorphers, so every now and then, a random monster shows up, they gotta chase it off. But other than that, they're normal, everyday high school kids. Until one day, a dimensional gateway opens up in front of them, and two dudes come out, swinging their swords at each other. And Jack's like, I get the feeling we should help. And Justin's like, who? Which one do we help? And Jack's like, well, let's go with the one that looks less scary. So they jump in, they fight the other guy away, and then the guy they saved, he's like, I am in your debt. How can I repay you? So Jack leans over to Justin and he's like, I got an idea. You interested? And so they get this guy to give them some new morphers, and they become the Justice Force. Jack the Red Ranger, Justin stays blue. They recruit 3 new kids from school to help them. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. I hated Power Rangers in space as a kid. Not because the show itself was bad, but because it didn't deliver on the promise. They make this whole big ass deal about them going into outer space, and Justin stays because I can't go with you. And what happens? They spend like 70% of the season on Earth. I thought this was going to be like, Star Trek or Star Wars, but with Power Rangers. That they were going to be, traipsing around the galaxy. But no, they're supposedly searching for Zordon, but how far can you search if you have to make it back to Earth at least once an episode? I hate it. I hate it. I do. A lot of people seem to love that season. I don't. For that specific reason alone. And so that is why this exists in the first place. The Justice Force is created so they can stay on Earth, fight off Divatox and her monsters and anyone else who threatens it, while the Power Rangers in space actually get to stay in space and actually look for Zordon and do whatever they need to. So the Justice Force is on Earth dealing with their stuff. And then every now and then they do interact with the Space Rangers because, hey, occasionally the paths cross. Occasionally the Rangers end up needing to make it back to Earth for one reason or another. But more often than not, the Justice Force takes care of Earth. The Space Rangers stay in space. And I wish there was more to this story, but honestly, there's not much to it. Like, this isn't a real episode. It's more like an epilogue because, like I said, Justice Force handles Earth while the Space Rangers are in space. But there's not a lot of big things to tell you. Other than, hey, when the final battle happens, the Justice Force is there to help, and they lose their powers when Zordon is destroyed. But somehow they get them all back because Jack still keeps making sporadic appearances. He shows up as the Orange Ranger, saying it's morphin' time. Somehow, I don't know how he gets there, but in Lost Galaxy, when the Psycho Rangers show up, he magically appears, not in the first episode, he's only in the second, but he magically appears to help fight off Psycho Pink. And then, when Forever Red comes on, he's there as the Red Justice Force Ranger. And he's also there, much like Tommy, he has a Master Morpher when he comes back in Power Rangers Mega Force, so he can be the Mighty Morphin Orange, he can be Silver, Zeo, or Turbo, or he can be Red Justice Force. And when they have the final battle, he's there leading the Justice Force into that battle. Look, I gotta be completely honest with y'all. I wasn't even sure if I should make this, and if you tell me to, if enough people say I should, I will delete this, because after making it, I realized Turbo is a much better finale. He gets to go off with that goodbye, He leaves behind the life of a ranger that he always knew, because he knows that he's got something more important that he has to worry about. And I just that's a much better finale than this. We've been dragging on this story for years, but I ended up needing to make this because I had an idea. Because the reason why I'm not talking any details about the Justice Force is because I have it my own separate story for them. You know, a lot of people will tell you fan fiction is useless. It may not be inherently useful, but it has its place because Justice Force started off as a fan fiction directly attached to the Power Rangers, and now I went out of my way to make it its own separate thing that I still have it exist in the Power Rangers universe. It doesn't have to. I can separate it entirely, make it something unique to itself. But I've come to realize that first and foremost, probably never going to make it to Hollywood. Secondly, even if I do, with money and politicking and culture evolving and everything, very little chance that this story ever actually gets made the way that I want it to. So I've actually been thinking about just the way I've been doing the fan fiction, do that, but with some of my original stories. If you are interested, I do have a Power Rangers TV show, and it lasts 10 seasons. Now, I say it's 10 seasons. I do have 10 seasons kind of planned out. I've only really written the first one, and by written, I mean like fully episode by episode fleshed out. So, good news is by the time we get through that, the other ones will be written because, let's be honest, best case scenario, I make one episode a month. So one episode a month, 19 episodes. It's going to take us almost 2 years to get through this. And if you're asking, well, why only one a month? If this was my job, if I was getting paid to do this, I could do one a day. I'm not getting paid. I've got to fit this in between my 40-hour-a-week job, between sleep and laundry and cooking and cleaning and buying groceries and all the other shit going on in my life. So the most I could be promised would be once a month, and the first episode wouldn't come out till January because I've got 2 or 3 other things I promised to do on this channel before then. But that could be something if you're interested in it. If you want a tiny preview of what that looks like, Jack is actually replaced by Stephanie, and Stephanie for the series will be played by this picture of Gabrielle Union. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, leave a comment down below, let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that other stuff. And until the next time you see me in a video, whenever that happens to be, I hope you have a great day, week, month, year, and enjoy it.
You smoked all of it, didn't you?